and 3 and 2 and 1. And welcome back to the good old days of Throwback to the Past of the FrameCast. Because today we are doing a single topic episode again, aren't we, Drew?
We're not going to do the other thing too.
We could. Maybe a two-topic FrameCast.
Maybe. Yeah, I guess. Yes.
Yeah, but we're not. We're not doing the super news focus thing, which we normally do. We normally do like current topics, but like current topics have been kind of boring lately. Yeah, nothing's going on. I want to have like some sort of stick and at least like poke like the gaming industry and the media industry, like do something, entertain us so that we can talk about it.
Well, I think part of the problem is that we don't focus on reveals like, hey ho, it's been confirmed that the next God of War game's coming out, or there's leaks from Bethesda about the Starwood or something like that game that they've apparently been in development for years. Like we don't focus on that stuff. In all honesty, personally, I don't get a lot of interest from that sort of thing. I'd be interested to know what our listeners think. Or should we focus on any of that stuff, or should we just not bother? Because personally, I'm like, it's coming. Who cares?
Yeah, me too. I'm like, especially like so many games come out that like in general, like I don't care about every single game's release. It's pretty much like if there's something interesting around it, then like okay, that's kind of cool. That piques my interest. But even if there's like something interesting like Cyberpunk coming out or something like that, it's like we know it's gonna be coming out hopefully in November. And it's like, well, that's the thing that's going to happen. Like, there's nothing much special about like a game releasing unless there's something special happening around it, which can be pretty cool.
Either something that we feel warrants our attention, or something that maybe our own personal experience from playing the game. But I don't know.
Did we actually like mention last week about Among Us 2 being cancelled and Among Us 1 being like further developed?
I don't know if it had been announced by that point.
It may not have been, but anyway, so like that's a thing.
Yeah,
like, as a starting thing, which like actually like that is quite interesting. I really like Among Us, especially because like we've had Among Us and Fall Guys, and Among Us very much more than Fall Guys, which are like two of the most popular games recently, which are completely not dependent on graphics, completely not pushing the graphics capabilities of any computer. And then you have like the new console generation coming forward, which are like, oh, look at the graphics. The graphics will be so insane. It will be so cool. Like, oh, buy these things for the increased graphics. And then the RTX 30 series with like 8K gaming. And in the meantime, everyone's just like, oh, Fall Guys and Among Us. Oh, what are you talking about? Graphics? Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. I do completely agree. I think a lot of gamers, probably not our audience or anything like that, they are very keen to... We're keen to find something that engages with us, something that like speaks to us on a personal level. Whereas I think a lot of gamers, like outside of our community, they are really heavily into games that are like, the next Titanic, the next flashy thing. And it's like, well, that doesn't appeal to us. I mean, it can be the next Titanic for all we care. But if it's a terrible, boring game, why would we bother wasting our time on it?
I think partly it has to do with 4K, 8K gaming. Like it's like a performance number, which can be better, sort of thing. So it's really hard to rate how good a game will be. And you look at Among Us, that game has been around for like 2 years. No one really picked up on it until all of a sudden everyone started playing it. I'm really curious, like the source of what made Among Us popular, because like I have no idea. If you know, anyone in here that listens to this knows, let me know, because I'm really, really curious. Where did this thing start?
I wouldn't be surprised if it was PewDiePie.
PewDiePie discovered this?
Yeah, no, he's played it, right? And I think he played it before most of the other content creators did. In the recent release. So I wouldn't be surprised, because like PewDiePie starts playing Minecraft, everyone suddenly starts playing Minecraft. PewDiePie does this, there are a lot of content creators that do respect heavily what PewDiePie does. And like in the earlier years, not so much me, but like I do like to listen to him on occasion, and as he's matured hell of a lot. I hated all that because it's PewDiePie. I hated that so much, right? But I wouldn't be surprised if PewDiePie was the driving factor behind Among Us becoming so popular. But
An interesting thing about when PewDiePie did his Minecraft thing, which was like hugely popular and like made him a bunch of fucking money. Like the thing is that didn't really spread to the Minecraft community. So basically, what happened is people got like their renewed interest in like PewDiePie's Minecraft series, and I think that a couple of creators got their communities into it like for their playthrough as well. So I know Jacksepticeye did a good run. Markiplier started this year, which wasn't as great as like PewDiePie and Jacksepticeye, but it didn't mean that like
Markiplier is still doing his.
he is still doing his. That's true, but it's I think I've heard that like the it wasn't necessarily like PewDiePie got insane numbers, like 10 million views per episode, especially in the early days. And I believe that didn't really flow over to like Minecraft channels getting a big boost. It was just like everyone like hyped up around this. I thought Among Us actually came from Twitch because like it felt like such a Twitch thing where Twitch streamers were like, oh yeah, let's go play together and let's go play with communities and shit. And then like
maybe,
but I don't know. Like I could very well be PewDiePie. Like I have no idea. All of a sudden it just popped up. You were talking about it. You were like, get it. I saw like PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye making videos about it. That order might have been different, and I just saw it like trend on Twitch.
Well,
so
the content creators that I saw play it for the first time was actually Corridor Digital.
Ooh.
It was their Node channel, and like I quite like those guys. They're fun guys, especially with their video editing stuff, and you know, watching their playthrough of Among Us, I was just like, oh, this is my kind of shit. This is the PvP I love.
The thing which I find fascinating with Among Us is that every time I'm expecting it to be not as great as it actually is, because like every time like, okay, there's free maps. Actually in June they actually made these extra 2 maps like free, so they used to be paid DLC and then they made them free, so it couldn't have like trended at a better time. But I'm always like, but like we all know the task now, we all know like the layout, and like especially when it comes to stream or making videos around it, it's like I don't know how could this be interesting again? Like what, like if I sit in the Discord, which I absolutely enjoyed, like the Among Us streams have been like freaking fantastic. But like what if I sit in my Discord with like 9 other people, would not be interesting for like the other people that are like watching this and be like, okay, well we can't really engage. But it's actually like the exact opposite. Like every time like you go into it, like I'm constantly proven wrong, because even playing it, it's just because like the different way, like who is it and how they're gonna go about it, that changed every time. And also like if I'm rewatching it, like it's so much fun to like rewatch with like the different context of like, oh my god, I know who it is, and like I know how they're like bullshitting me right now, or how much like I'm catching them right now, even though I didn't know it. So yeah, it has great like watching value, so much more, and playing value as well, so much more than I ever thought like it would have.
I completely agree. I mean, I've been watching people play it, the streamers. I mean, the Trash Taste podcast, like one of them, oh god, what's his name? Sea Dog. I've been watching his, like he was the one that actually played with that one guy that freaking microed theory crafted everything. It's just like I tip my cap to whomever has the memory of a god, but gotta be honest, you ruined my fun.
Oh man, I had that when I was playing with like a group of friends that I hadn't played with before, and then one of them was like clearly like a leader of that group, and whatever they said, like the other group, the other members followed. So it was like they would make like I actually happened to be imposter, and like they would make a completely groundless claim against me. Like I wasn't even being suspicious or anything, and they would just be like, "Oh, it's him," and I was like, "Why?" It's like, well, because I feel like it. And like literally like I would be like, well, like I don't know, man, let's skip phone someone else. And like everyone voted me, and I'd be like, what the frick is going on here? Like, how can you guys be following this one person? Yeah, oh my god. And it's so funny how different games can be so different in like approaches and the way that people follow and the way that you gotta behave yourself. Like, yeah, it's actually Actually, like Efime sent me like an entire analysis. Efime is like one of the viewers
Yeah.
of chat. They sent me an entire analysis of like the last stream. We did 4.5 hours of Among Us. You joined for part of it, and they sent like
Yep.
an entire analysis of every single game. Who were the participants? Who were the imposters? And like why people were found out. And they also said that they're following people, and they're also like counting seconds, so like they know like how fast someone can run in a certain amount of time. So like if they've seen someone, they can count back and they'd be like, well, if you say you're Met Bay, I know that that's impossible that you were in Met Bay because that would take so long to run and it hasn't been
Yeah.
that long. And I'm like, oh my god, the levels, the in depth. I can appreciate that a lot.
Like so. I think let's talk about what we've played this week, and then we'll go
Yeah.
into because we're going to be talking about like customer service stuff, and currently we have started. You know, so what have you been playing this week, Michelle?
So like it's this rather unknown game, but I find it rather fascinating. It's called Among Us.
Oh my god.
No, a lot of Among Us. I've started with Fallout New Vegas on stream on Monday, which is pretty cool. So I booted up once before, and then I was looking around and I was like, well, this is like it's a cool Xbox 360 era game. And like I was like, okay, this looks like something, but I just had played the Outer Worlds, and now like we're starting, and just it feels right. Like I've gotten to my first quest, and it's like, this feels good. So I'm excited about that. Other than that, not much. Just been busy with stuff. How about you?
I've played a fair wodge of Among Us.
Ooh.
We'll have a little bit of a story time later, and we'll talk about my epic play against you.
Oh my lord! Yeah,
Let's
let's save that for the end. Well, let's do that.
Yeah. And or the segue, the partway thing. And then the other thing I've been playing is I've been playing a lot of Snow Alice on mobile. I really enjoy the PvP aspect of that because it's a 20-minute session out of your day. You don't always have to be there, and it's just fun to coordinate with your team, to strategize, synergize. The only difficulty we're having right now is actually finding a team that so people that want to play sort of like not competitively but more strategically. Does that make sense? More tactically.
Sort of. So like what does the gameplay look like? You said it's like 20 minutes a day sort of thing?
No. So so basically the casual gameplay is your stereotypical gacha like Fate Grand Order, or so you have a waifu who you've pulled through the gacha. You have a truck ton of weapons for said waifu, so you make a set, a kit, or what's called a grid for your waifu. You pitch doesn't matter which waifu you take because they don't really have core stats. Yeah, so you don't level them so much as you level the weapons. But every day, for once per day, there's a PvP element where you and your guild will fight another guild. A guild can consist up to 15 members. It has a vanguard and a rear guard. 5 members are in the vanguard. 10 members are in the rear guard. The 5 members of the vanguard are fighting each other, and the rear guard are supposed to support them.
Yeah.
So either buffing them, healing them, debuffing the enemies, so on and so forth, right? And you do this for a 20-minute window. If you take down your opposition, you go battle their ship, their boat. It's you just hit this big pinata effectively until you break it, or until the timer runs out, and then you just go back and fight the guild again, and you do this for 20 minutes a day.
Nice.
So it's good fun. It's
what do you have on your guild now?
So there's myself, Loz, Tobiah, Merastius, Yisun, Nazareth, And then we've got like a bunch of randoms, some notable randoms of 17, 28, and Silverline. We've never spoken to them in
Yeah.
person, right? We've also got Thiphysys. They're just cool people that we've met through the game,
Mm-hmm.
and you know they really heavily participate during the PvP thing. You know, it's good fun.
Sweet. Maybe ask DK if it sounds like something for him, because like waifu games, gacha waifu games where you like battle each other, like that sounds like right up his alley, actually.
I spoke to him about it during his stream earlier today, or was it yesterday? And
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
one of
it's it's all a blur. I think it was yesterday. And yeah, so he he said that I think he looked at it but didn't actually play it. But yeah,
Maybe I should
so
ask him for you again. Maybe he'll respond more
maybe we'll play it
favorably.
So yeah, that's what I've been playing. Been looking at Genshin Impact,
Yeah, me
which
too.
he's also been playing. So I think I'll spend the next 12 years downloading that and give that a go.
Oh man, like they said that like it's being like very like slow with downloads because of like everyone's trying to access it. I've not played it, but it's being said to be like a waifu version of Breath of the Wild, but then with gacha elements to it. Then again,
Yeah.
I've also heard that the gacha elements are like kind of quite alright, and the battle pass or something like I heard people say like, oh, the monetization is quite redeeming, it's quite alright. So I haven't checked it out. It looks cool with like how much I've heard from it, so I'll try it out.
Cool. Right. Shall we move on to what we're going to be talking about today?
There's one thing. There were some comments, and there's one comment which I want to highlight, which is from Cap Yusuf, who said, Xeno, you should take 3 days off for Cyberpunk. Not 1, not 2, but 3 days off for Cyberpunk, so you can play.
Why would I take 3 days off? It comes out on a Thursday.
Because then you can play.
No, it comes out on a Wednesday, but Wednesday night, our time.
Yeah.
So it's like,
So you can play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. You can play 5 days in a row.
Yeah, no.
Or 4 days in a row, and then use the 5th day to sleep the entire day.
Yeah, sorry guys, no 10 o'clock this week. I got a busy play. What's called? Yeah, no, I don't think that'll go.
Maybe just do it from like inside the game. It's like, oh yeah, like right now, what are the topics laws? Oh, we don't know. Okay, so I came across this story in Cyberpunk. Let's talk about that. That will be our topic. So yeah, I just came across this person. Could this be our next Space Mom? What do we think?
Moving on.
Who knows? They might have nullifiers in Cyberpunk.
Oh my god, no.
All right, so the topic for today. So the title of today is can we still communicate with online platforms? Now, this kind of started out because I posted on Twitter today a thing which I came across online, like while I was browsing the internet, and it's like it's so perfectly.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like, so the headline of, like, I came across an article and the headline was YouTube celebrates Deaf Awareness Week by removing crowdsourced captions. It's like, dude, like, what the heck? So like this is not just like some sort of weird thing. It's like literally an article right here on Ars Technica. It's like YouTube celebrates Deaf Awareness Week by killing crowdsourced captions. 500,000 signatures over half a million signatures aren't stopping YouTube from shutting down the accessibility feature. So basically, what they're doing and is like, normally you could go out to videos and then you could if you were like, if I was, let's say, Dutch, and I might have done this on a couple of videos. I don't know if I've done it on the 10 o'clock. I don't think so, but I've done it on a couple of videos maybe, where like I would go out and like translate subtitles if they were in English. I was like, oh yeah, that's fun. And then you could like then like people could like read the subtitles if the creator didn't have time for it. And the idea was really cool, but like there's also like some problems with it, where some people would like go to PewDiePie videos and say, instead of like what it was, just say like sub to my channel sort of thing. But overall, like, it was also up to like the discretion of the creator to like turn it off or on, and now YouTube just straight up removed the feature. And honestly, I was just shocked with like how fucked up can your PR line be, that like during Deaf Awareness Week, the way to celebrate is to remove crowdsourced captions. And like, I mean, like they like, I'm like, how can you guys fuck this up so many times in a row? Because like I have never really had a moment where I was like, oh my god, like today I start up OBS, I update OBS, and it says like, hey, we added a new feature. It's like a virtual camera. So right now, normally like I use 2 cameras for now, so like Drew can see me as well. But now I can basically use my OBS. Like, I didn't really ask for that feature because like it's super super nice, but I never knew to ask for it, and they just implement it. I was like, dude, this is great news. But like if I think back like the last time that YouTube had great news, like what was the last time YouTube did something? Oh yeah, remember that time that like Logan Paul found a body in the suicide forest? Oh yeah, what was YouTube's response again from that? Oh yeah, the direct response was to demonetize all small creators. That was that was a pretty shit move. It's like, how the fuck, like I don't remember anything but YouTube just fucking up here over and over again. However, they get away with it because like they don't seem to give a fuck. And then Drew came around to me with like a story where like he has been trying to contact the pretty much non-existing Google support.
Oh
What's
my
been going on with
God,
that?
yeah. So so I can no longer monetize my YouTube videos, right? Because I have not entered in a PIN number for my YouTube PIN. Sorry, N stands for number. So yeah, I haven't entered my YouTube PIN in order to say yes, my account is valid, my address is valid, all this stuff, right? And I've not been withdrawing the money. The money's still sat in the account and everything, but now my YouTube videos can't earn anything, right? So they've turned off advertisements and all this stuff. And like I've been keeping an eye on this for a while. Where is this PIN number? Okay, whatever. It hasn't been on the forefront of my mind. And then about a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago, they turned off the advertisement on my channel. And I'm like, the monetization. I'm like, where's my monetization gone? What's going on? I'm not stopping my content or anything. I'm trying to, and like there's nothing, right? So I contacted I eventually contacted Google this week because it's been like months, and you know, and so I contacted YouTube, and YouTube were like, oh yeah, go to this URL, and you know, feel free to contact our creator support team, right? And then like, it's how the fuck do I do this? It's like there's no email, there's no form, there's no nothing. How the hell do I do this? And I ended up clicking on this thing. It's like, what you do is you go to YouTube, right? You click on your icon in the top right hand corner. You then click on help, and then a dialog will appear, and then you can type in what you search for, get creator support, and then you click on that, and you'll be able to send us an email. You type in get creator support, and there's nothing, right? It doesn't need any, right? And it's like, yeah, it would be nice if that existed. Okay, thanks, bye. And ultimately, I eventually found somewhere. I think I ended up just Googling it some more, and then I eventually found there was an option to resend the YouTube pin, and it told me the date in which they sent it, which was back in 2019. I think it was like March 2019, and I'm like, why didn't you send me an email telling me you were mailing me this thing? Why, like, I mean, I don't know about other countries and things, but like, I really feel in our day and age, bloody snail mail is becoming so antiquated.
Wait, they were sending it via like snail mail, not email?
Yes,
What
yes, it's not email. Not email.
What?
Right? It's through the post.
Dude, you gotta be shitting me. I thought you said email.
No.
Dude, why the fuck would they do that? Oh my god. Like, I would like.
And because I've never withdrawn any money from Google, from AdSense or anything like this. So there's like a couple $100 sat in that account for like the last few years, right? I was just like, oh yeah, maybe I should actually get that money and then put it towards like some video production or some shit like this. And like, fucking hell. Every single time I look to do it, it's like, oh, it'll take 45 days for it to hit your account. I'm like, oh man, I can't be fucked. Patreon and Ko-fi are faster than that. And yeah, so what was the rest of my sentence?
So could it be like do you have to?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So they apparently they've sent it to me without having an address to send it to. I'm like,
oh, because you didn't enter your address.
Yeah, because I never entered an address. So like, then how the fuck did you send it to me? Do you just like print it out, put it in an envelope, and then just drop it on the floor because you had nowhere to send it to.
Oh my lord, that is so shit. So
Yeah,
that is crazy.
never
So
got to
like,
talk to anyone.
so like that is another example. Like that's another example of like, not only is like are like these companies getting more tone deaf, like something like YouTube, but they're also incredibly hard to reach. So it's
Yeah,
like with this example right here, where like you're a creator, a partnered creator, might I say, because you're a YouTube partner,
yeah.
because you can get ads. Like you don't have any way to contact YouTube. They're really shit at it, and at the same time, like if you like you see oftentimes where creators get copy striked, and then they have to go through @team YouTube on Twitter in order to get like contact and support. It's like they can't go for like their own system. They have to go to Twitter. You have to get enough clout. You have to get enough likes for YouTube to acknowledge it. As like, in what way does this seem like some sort of like reasonable thing to work? And like we also recently had like Dr Disrespect and like Leafy got banned off of Twitch, and none of them were shown any reasons. None of them were told any reasons why they got banned. And like this this may seem like a lot of complaining, and like that's not really the intent right now. This is just to like set an example why I wanted to ask a question today, or like kind of discuss, like, is there still a way that we can communicate with online platforms? Like, because right now it seems like there is no way. And I'm kind of wondering, like, what could it be that like could allow us to communicate with platforms again? Or is it just completely going to be impossible in the future because they don't give a fuck whether they have customer service or not? They're going to succeed anyway.
So I think that there are some companies out there. Ironically, Amazon is one of them, right? The irony is the fact that Amazon owned Twitch. Ironically, I think Amazon is one of them. They have one of the best customer supports I have ever seen, right? And it's nice to actually be able to praise a company rather than just shitting all over them.
Yeah.
One time, I bought an arm for my monitor. So for those of you who don't know, my monitors are set up like a Tetris piece. So it's like the three at the bottom and then one at the top middle.
Yeah.
Right. And I bought an arm to have one of my monitors at the top middle. But the difficulty was trying to work out which arm to buy. Right. And I ended up buying an arm that was way too small, right? So it was only, I thought, who on earth would create an arm that was only, normal monitor height, right?
Yeah.
Apparently they fucking exist. I don't know why, but they do. So I bought one of those by accident, and I contacted Amazon and I said to them, I want to send this back. This was not the product I was meant to buy, and they were like, fine, here's the RMA, the returns number and everything. You have until, oh God, I've committed so much of this to memory. You have until the 17th of July. This was 2018. Yeah. To send it back to us. So I bought it like June. And I had got it with me. I had to arrange for a friend of mine, to drop it off at a shop near where I worked, right? Because where I lived, there was like nothing near me that I could drop it off to. And I got it all and everything, and on the 17th, I was going to drop it off, right? So make sure it's dropped off by the 7th. Cool. But apparently it did not include the 17th, right? Ooh. So I contacted them and I said, look, I've got it here with me, blah, 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 blah. So this was at like 12 o'clock. It took me a while to get through to them. This does actually have a good ending to it, I promise. And I said to them, you put by the 17th. Today is still the 17th. Yes, we meant before the 17th. Then put before. Don't put by. That's ambiguous. Anyway, so I was really upset, and they said that they'll extend it by a day. Right? Yeah. And I could send it to. Oh God, this was the wording that they used was really confusing. They said. Oh God, was it the Royal Depot or something like this? And I was like, the what? And I ended up looking this up, and I spent ages trying to work it out. And they meant the Royal Mail Depot, right? Which is fairly yeah, so I spent like 5-10 minutes working this out, and I worked out where, and this Royal Mail depot was 2 miles away,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it closes at 12:30. This was at 10 to 1,
Oh.
right? And I said to them, "You've extended it to today, but the depot's already closed." I'm like, "I don't understand what the problem is. The depot is closed." And like, this was a Friday, and they were like, "Oh, well, we'll extend it to another day." Well, you're gonna have to change the depot. I was like, and the nearest depot to me, where I lived on a Saturday, was again 3 miles
Out.
walk away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd have to walk to the damn depot, and yeah, so it's like, oh yeah, it's like, so I was really, really angry, and they sent me like a feedback thing saying like, what's your customer feedback and everything, and I put 1 star out of
Yeah.
5, and immediately, like I'm talking within 15 minutes, my phone starts ringing, and it's a manager from Amazon.
Well.
It's like, hi, you left a 1 star rating on our thing. And I was like, yeah, I'm really upset. The information that you conveyed was inaccurate. The customer service I got was terrible, and you gave me an extension of 1 day without being able to complete it. And I'm like, I was really, really angry at them, things like this. And they're like, okay, how's about this? We'll give you a full refund. You can keep the item if you change your score. And I'm like, done. Like,
Wow.
just done. I just want my money back. I don't care about whether or not I send it or not. I just don't want the fucking hassle. You're taking the hassle away from me. You're giving me my money back. Job done. I'll change the score. And I did, and then I got my money back and everything. And I
Sweet.
was really, really happy. Yeah. Other companies I've had such horrible experiences with.
That's really surprising from Amazon. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like, I had a really great customer service too recently, where like I bought my mixer panel like years ago, like I'm talking almost 3 years ago, and like it
Mhm.
broke for no reason. I was like, oh shit, like, well, what's going on? It was like some sort of electrical thing, and then I looked it up when I bought it. It was like 2017 or something, and it said like, oh, you have 3 years warranty. So I was like, well, let me just go take it to the shop. Let's see what happens. I took it there to like, oh yeah, well we'll fix it for you, and in the meantime, do you just want a free replacement? I was like the exact same thing. They're like, yes, please. So like it took them like, I guess, a month or a little bit more. I really don't know how long it took them, because like I got the replacement, and I've like I just it was like it wasn't gone, and like then it came back
Yeah.
and it's like plug and play. It's so nice. But the thing about good customer support though is that it costs a lot of like manpower to man customer support, and that's a place where I can imagine that when you're striving to compete, especially when it comes to like the retail space, where generally the task of like buying products from manufacturers, or like allowing retailers to like sell through your site, is something which is done by a lot of different companies, and at like price points that aren't that different, that like in order to make that difference, you need that customer support. So like right now, I'm like, even if it's cheaper on Amazon, I'm probably gonna buy it from like, I'm probably gonna buy my next audio equipment from that store, because the guarantee, like the warranty, the thing, it's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And like they want me as a customer. However, when it comes to like Google, when it comes to Twitch, when it comes to YouTube, when it comes to Facebook and other on those sites, like there are no real alternatives. So like I can imagine that, especially when you have millions and millions of users, like it's going to cost a lot of money to employ people to be on like a call, or be on like emails to like respond to like customers, be customer support, and have them be of like high enough quality, and then pay them out while you could also like be paying people to program like support programs, and at the same time also work on like other things to improve your website. So I can imagine that for them it's more cost effective to make it be a website page where you just go yourself for the FAQ. But like I'm wondering, like, isn't there like a middle ground to be found, sort of thing? Because Like I don't like I've seen Google more and more shy away from there's no email that you can kind of connect to. There's no phone
Mm.
number you can call. It's all just like the pages. And if you have trouble, well, fuck you. Then go to Twitter. Um, is there any way which like keeping in mind like the large scale of people that they need to interact with? Like, is there a way you think that they could do it otherwise than like just doing it via like an FAQ program sort of thing, or is that like literally the only way which is like cost effective for these companies?
No, I think one way to do it would be using like instant messaging programs where you have um, scripts that you can use. So instead of actually having to type the whole thing by hand, literally you just click on the script,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's like, oh, we're sorry for your inconvenience. Let's see what we can do to resolve the situation, right?
Yeah.
So that's one sentence right there. That could be just click,
Mm-hmm.
and then you could actually have like 4 conversations. Well, maybe 2, but you could have multiple conversations happening at the same time, and you could just click on the different responses to get it resolved, right?
But
And
does
then
that
when
does
you need to do a more complicated answer, you just click on the text
Mhm.
box and then you type.
But does that improve the quality of the customer service? Because, like, for example, like one of the things recently when there was Critical or something, I don't know what his name is. I think his name is Pingwings or something. Like, big guy from Twitch who's also on YouTube, no well known. Like, he had this video where he reacted to, and then that video got striked, like copy striked, and then he pointed out like, hey, Markiplier also has this video up from like a you laugh you lose, and then YouTube went like, well, then we're gonna strike Markiplier too. And I can imagine that if you have to like deal with 4 different things in customer support and like you just click and like deal with them, I can imagine that those situations might very more quickly occur where it's like, this thing was marked as defensive material. Oh, there's the same thing. Okay, strike. Okay, next thing. So I don't know whether that would necessarily improve the quality of customer support over having just an AI program um, react to the thing in the same way, where it's like, okay, well, based on like what's being said, we're just gonna like throw in like look up this article for like, I'm sorry for your inconvenience. So would that really be that much of a quality improvement? Or would that just be a waste of human effort where it's just like one person kind of doing the thing a computer is doing right now?
So I think, yes, it would be an improvement because ideally you would be able to handle multiple people at the same time. For example, imagine you're on the phone,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't know how many companies you've had to call up in the past saying like, what's called my internet's down, or why is my power off, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like there have been a number of instances where I have been on the phone on hold for an hour
Damn.
waiting to talk to someone, and then I get through to them, and then they're absolutely fucking no use. And it's like, the internet's being shit. Can you please migrate us over to this? Oh no! It's like at one point in time, so I was with Virgin Media, Virgin Broadband, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I lived in a part of Birmingham called Selly Oak, which is Birmingham's like student area. It's
Mm-hmm.
where all the students typically live for that go to the University of Birmingham. And we're talking approximately 20,000 students, maybe 25,000. Like, because there are neighboring areas where like Edgbaston, Harborne, maybe Bourneville further south, but the majority of the students were all in this one area called Sally Oak, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were trying to do anything with the internet, and it was garbage. It was
Mm-hmm.
fucking garbage, right? Our ping was in the multiple seconds,
Ooh.
and in the end, I called them up, and they had a problem where I think they weren't able to connect us to the. No, I had enough. I'd had enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, right, I'm calling them up. I'm canceling the contract. So I called up their tech support. Yeah, this I remember exactly how I got to it.
Mm-hmm.
I called up their tech support, which was some company in India. They were
Yeah.
reading off like loads of different scripts and things. Oh, this thing is broken, blah blah blah. I was like,
Yeah.
so, have you tried turning it off and on again? Have you tried, plugging it directly into your computer? All this bollocks. I'm like, dude, you don't know your ass from your elbow. I've got a fucking degree in this
Mm-hmm.
shit. Fucking, fix it. And in the end, I was so pissed off. I said to them, right, I want to cancel my contract.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you do that,
Mm-hmm.
they put me through to the UK based center where they handle cancellations, like, handle the accounts and things. Not the
Mm-hmm.
Indian center, the UK center. And I'm like, interesting. And they, I was talking to them, look, I want to cancel my contract. Right, that's £500. What? £500? I was like, yeah, to cancel your contract early, it's £500. I jog the fuck on. You'll find if you've got like a mobile phone provider or anything like that, you've got a cancellation fee that's absolutely ludicrous, right? Anyway, so I contacted so I said to them, look, I'm a student, I can't fucking pay £500. That's bloody half my my expenses for the year,
Mm-hmm.
And then they turned around and said, well, we can put you through to our UK-based tech team and talk it through and everything. And then they put me through to the UK. And the UK guys were they were sweethearts. They were like, the legends. They were amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they turned around and they said, like, you have high utilization in your area. So for 2% of the day, right? So it's like for 98% of the day, that junction, that that exchange that you're on is at 100, is maxed out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's because all the students were constantly torrenting, right? They were constantly uploading and they were maxing out this. So the network was oversubscribed. So Selly Oak, Harborne, Bourneville, and Edgbaston were all oversubscribed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, can we please try and sort this out? Blah, blah, blah. And we're back and forward. And then I worked out a way. If I called up their Indian tech center, then asked to cancel, say, oh, no, I shouldn't be here. I put in to cancel. They put you through UK. So I don't know why I'm here. I should be through, I put in for tech support. They put you through to UK tech support. You get to talk to someone that knows what the fuck they're doing, right? Ultimately, what I ended up doing was turning to the UK tech support, said, look, I want to cancel. This is ridiculous. And they said £500. I said, that's ludicrous. You're not being able to support your thing. You can't, hold me to a contract where you're not providing the service that I'm paying for. I said, put me through to your tech support. They put me through to tech support. I said, look, I'm trying to get out of this. They're charging me 500 quid. And they said, hold on 2 seconds. They put me, like, I could hear the conversation. They put me, they joined all three parties and they said, like, yeah, just write it off. We can't provide him their internet and legally we have to.
Ooh.
And then, so managed to undo that. But that took like a month to resolve. It was stupid.
But again, in that situation, one of the things that you have is that you have the power as a customer to say, I can go to one of your competitors. And what you find also with your Amazon example is like the first time, like you got like shit customer servers, and that's kind of like reminiscent, or like that's kind of like that is even better than what you get from like YouTube and Twitch these days. But like you at least like you get something with shit. But the moment that you're like, I got a negative review, I hated this service, or I'm gonna quit, like they're gonna try and like keep you because it is in their best interest to keep you at that stage, because if you're quitting, they're gonna lose a customer. The problem right now, what we find with online platforms is that, I mean, in the case like we saw with Dr Disrespect being banned, it's like the fact that like such a notable streamer got banned on the platform. Like it's such a bad example because anyone that's like on Twitch right now that's trying to grow, like basically what they just said is like, okay, well, even if you do everything right, even if like there's like, because like they said nothing is wrong with Dr. Disrespect, they've not been able to point out what was the thing that got him banned. It's like, if you do everything right, we might just go up and ban you. And it's like, okay, that is like a really bad precedent to set. If I work at like if I start streaming here, I'm gonna try and like make it, and like this is a platform that's unknown to like randomly ban you. It's like, well, that's not really like, I'd rather go to a competitor where they don't just randomly ban me, but they know that like a competitor doesn't exist, so they don't have that drive to like keep you here. And that's also the case in YouTube. And like I'm wondering, like, could it be like could there be any possible incentive that might make them turn around and say like, hey, like these stupid like YouTube emails where like you get copyright strikes and like your channel gets banned, like you get a copy strike or like someone claims your videos and like you lose your livelihood as a creator, and they're just like, well, we don't care. Well, it's just an automated email. We're not gonna respond to it. And it's like on the one hand, like I mean, like the only thing which I can imagine would make them like do something is if they get a competitor, and I don't think that's likely. So is it like, I'm wondering, like, is it just like pure efficiency that like they just really don't care? They're like, because like it's not just a creative thing. I've also heard of people that were just like locked out of their entire Google suite. Like they just got banned of their Google account. They don't know how. They just lost their Google account and they can't get it back. I mean, like I had that with like actually also had that with my grandparents. Like I made a Google account for my grandparents, and like they used it on like a tablet or something. Like a few years later, my grandpa got a phone. I was like, oh, I'll install the Google account there, and then like it said like, oh, password's not right. I was like, oh, reset a password. I reset the password. They're like, oh yeah, your account has been like blocked because of like detection systems. I was like, well, request the thing. I'm like, yeah, well, this is my grandparents' account, and like I made it, and they're like, it's locked. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? And it's like, I like nowhere
Yeah.
is there an incentive for these companies to be like, oh yeah, we might lose you as a customer because they know you're going to be fucking back. So is there any way where without the need of a competitor, these companies might change their mind? Or is this like pure, like the only way that they can go about it?
I think one thing to highlight is competitor you know of, right? There's a social media network called Parler, right? I think there's another one called Minds. They are both direct competitors to Twitter. Did you know about them?
I think I've heard of Minds before.
Yeah, and that's the point. So there might be a direct competitor. Like you could look at Vimeo, you could look at Livestream. There's probably direct competitors to Twitch.
D-Live.
But
D-Live, like PewDiePie was signed with that for like a year.
No idea what that is. But the whole point is that unless you're made aware of them, how are you gonna know to go with them? Yeah. And I think that is a valid point. The more companies like Patreon screw up, the more companies like Twitch screw up, I think that's just going to make people look for these alternatives. Literally just type in, something alternative. Like, again, Photoshop alternative. You'll probably get GIMP.
Well, the problem with sites like YouTube and Twitch is that the way they're run is pretty much a charity basis. Because, like, can you imagine, like, us creating a startup, like, as a competitor to YouTube, and, like, our startup basically is, like, involves us, like, creating servers where people can just, for free, post unlimited amount of videos on. So, and unless they get, like, enough people to follow them, like, then then we can start placing ads on them. Like you wouldn't do that. And like literally YouTube, like I could go on YouTube right now, create a brand new account, upload like a 48-hour live stream in like 1080p quality or even 4K quality. I could 8K. YouTube supports 8K, so I could upload a 48-hour 8K video. Like, I don't know exactly like how big that file would be, but that file would be really, really massive. And like I could just upload that, and YouTube will have that, and I can access that at any point in time at a high internet frequency, and it can be completely unmonetized because I don't have 1,000 subscribers. And it's like
technically you can't upload it because there's a limit on 12 hours. You can't go more than 12 hours on a.
Well, I mean 12-hour, like if I upload a 12-hour 8K video, like that is a huge size, and I can upload more of them. Like I can just split it up in 12 hours and upload them, and it's like that is a huge thing that you're like offering
I
to
think
anyone in the world for free.
so. I think first off, one of the big things, one of the really big important parts of being a content creator, is the risk involved, right? So, what happens if, for example, YouTube turn around and make my pin, like they lock out all my monetization. What the fuck am I supposed to do? Luckily, I am in an excellent position where I couldn't give two shits because I earn a lot of money from my job. Right? But the difficulty is for people like, say, let's say Joey. Let's say for whatever sake or reason, Joey's account. Joey relies heavily on his YouTube income. He relies heavily on Twitch income, Patreon, so on and so forth. If one of those just gets cut off, what the fuck is he supposed to do? Now, I think this is realistically where YouTube networks exist. Do they still exist? Like,
not as far as I'm aware, not really anymore. Like at least people are advised against joining them. So basically, they were like back in the day, they were the only way to get monetization on YouTube. You had to like join a network, which would then take your revenue from you. Yeah, it would take your revenue from YouTube, and then they would like give you 80% of it, or 70% of it, or like whatever percentage you talks about, 50%. And they barely did anything, as far as I've heard. But like, I mean, I think that when it comes to the YouTube channels,
can I finish my point?
Yeah.
Sorry, the last of my point is that imagine if you were a representative, so you were effectively an agent, right? You had let's talk about a bunch of our friends. We've got Zandy, we've got Joey, we've got DK, we've got Blaze, right? So we've got content creators. Then we have small known content creators like yourself, like Scarlet, so on and so forth. And then from the group, we then start attracting more attention, like Magamu. We get Tactical Potato. We get Quiet Shay. We get more and more people involved in this network. And then when someone like yourself comes around, so like I've been cut off this thing, you have one representative, right? This representative manages all these channels, and they are the liaison between the channel and YouTube, right? So they are the agent, and they would turn to YouTube and say, right, you need to fix this account. What's called? You can't just say that to us because that account only has how many subscribers do you have?
I don't know, 500 something.
500 something subscribers. That's no. You fucking fix that person's account, or these millions of subscribers are going away, right? And I think that is realistically, you have to have someone to fight your corner for you.
Well, that's really tough though, because like, how would you mean these millions of subscribers are going away? Because, like, let's say, like, even if we were to join a network, I first of all, I think that you should never like delete your YouTube channel over like losing monetization, because no matter what, whether you have a channel with monetization or no monetization, it's better to have a channel, especially when it's big enough. Like, I'd rather have a channel with 100K subscribers and like no monetization than have like no 100K subscriber channel. But even if you were to all turn off your monetization, I think that like say, we'll do it for a week, but like then the thing is like, where do these creators get paid from, sort of thing. So like I like the idea, but this could only work if like this system would be able to pay these creators out. But like then again, like where does that money come from?
No, so the whole point of this system is it's unionization, right? It's to create a union. So if one person suffers or one group of people suffers, everyone makes a stand, right? So, for example, when I was working at the University of Birmingham, I wasn't in the staff union, but at one point in time, they were looking to sack off a bunch of the catering staff. So what happened? loads of lecturers, loads of researchers, right? All of them went on strike, right? Which meant that there were no lecturers to support the students. There were no the
But
stores around the campus were closed. All of the stores were closed, right?
but this is a different situation, because first of all, like when it comes to entertainment, there is still hours and hours of YouTube videos online. So even if creators were to say like we're not going to upload videos, then like people could still watch videos. But also because it's like such a highly competitive like open space, like you can't replace a lecturer within a day, because like you need to train someone, you need to hire someone like that. You can't do that. So that's why they can go on strike. However, let's say that PewDiePie and Jacksepticeye and Markiplier and like they don't upload for a week. Like there will be other gaming channels that will be like, this is my time to shine, and like they might be at like the 500,000 or 900,000 range right now, and then all of a sudden, because like they're the ones that are now posting Among Us videos, they're the ones being picked up by the algorithm, they're being thrown forward, and YouTube is like, well, I guess, yeah. I mean, you guys not making videos. I mean, like, I'm sorry, but yeah,
you're not wrong, right? You're not wrong. It will be a lot harder, right? But could you imagine what would happen if, you had an agent and then all these content creators stood behind the little guy, right? The little guy's being shat on. All these content creators are standing behind them. And then the liaison, right? Hey, IGN. Hey, Eurogamer. Hey, Game Informer, whatever. What you call, hey, BBC, hey, The Independent, hey, The Times, right? You just basically contact a load of publications and you say, this is happening. Right?
It would make a really big thing. It would make a really big thing. However, like one thing which you got to keep in mind, like let's say that this happened around like someone getting banned. Like there have been many cases of like I remember when like the Leafy Content Cup got banned, and that was like people hated that shit because it was like, oh yeah, it's got banned because of bullying and harassment. It's just like a satirical like comedy video around like calling out a creator out. It's like, well, there's nothing wrong with that, and YouTube goes out of its way to like do something about it. But it's like, how much do you sacrifice? Because like, let's say, especially when it comes around a small channel, like creators have brand deals that go around for like certain videos. I know that like, let's say for example, like Linus Tech Tips has like 2 sponsors per video, which pay for that video to go live on that day. Like if you take a look, like let's say PewDiePie uploads a video, like every day they get like 1 to 2 million views, or maybe more. That's like at least $10,000 to maybe more. And like if you want more creators to do that, like you're gonna have to have at least like a bunch of creators like stop making a video for like a day or two, and then not like, and also post it like, we're not doing this because of this. Like that's gonna cost them like a lot of income. Like that's like we're easily talking about like millions of missed revenue for the creators themselves, because like they're missing out on YouTube as well, but also, well, actually, like you don't know necessarily, because like if the viewers
YouTube as well,
partly, but like if the viewers of PewDiePie would, instead of watching PewDiePie, watch something else, like they could get revenue there. But like PewDiePie would directly lose his revenue because like he would not get these videos out. So those are things where it's like it's yeah.
Imagine you have these content creators, right? Like I know Loz doesn't bother using the subscription system in YouTube at all. He actually just goes and gets he has a bunch of URLs and he just like checks them every day. He just checks them periodically because the subscription system is just pointless. Joey's asked me to help him sort out something for RSS feeds for different content creators. That's more reliable than bloody YouTube's homepage. Like loads of people, they come for specific people, right? They don't come to watch anything. They come to watch specific things. So if PewDiePie stopped releasing videos and didn't give any warning, right? The whole point is either you do enough damage through negative press, right? Or no matter what you do, you're just going to piss people off. And if you continue to piss people off, let's have it that every single content creator, right, not breaking the terms and services, still release videos, just go, and just so you're aware, this content creator over here, just to do a community shout out, this content creator over here, who I personally support, is being neglected by YouTube. How much bad press would that take if they got loads of videos to do it?
Well, one thing
Hundreds of videos.
Well, one thing which might happen in that, like with that, for example, is like where I can also see why these companies enjoy being so fake and enjoy being like so shit at communication is because remember that one time when PewDiePie just said like, oh, here's like a bunch of creators you could check out, and like he just linked them. He didn't even like show their videos or anything, and then like people called him like a Nazi, and people like made videos about oh no, made articles about him being a Nazi because one of the things that he linked was well, one of the channels that he linked. Or the videos that he linked was from a channel that also made another video a couple of months earlier where there was like one joke that was a little bit edgy that could be
Mm.
seen as like, and it's like, I can imagine like the moment that you would say something like that, then like you would have to be sure that like a channel like that would would be safe sort of thing. And like you can't really do that when it comes to like such small creators and you have like such a large base sort of thing because you don't know that creator all that well, and like the risk that you might lose when it comes to like, you might lose sponsors for that thing is really big. And like I know that like that's in the ideal world that would not be the case, because if you could make YouTube better and like and like that would come at the cost of one sponsorship deal, like sure, I think like people would take that, but you don't know. And like that's a big trouble with like these sorts of things. Like you're gonna have to get people over the bridge, and like that's gonna be really tough, especially when it comes to like the amount of money that's being made. And like you also see like people are so much of as long as it doesn't affect me, I don't care. And you see that with like these bullying and harassment rules on YouTube, which are
It's
getting more and more bullshit, where like people will just, but like recently there was a creator that like literally like they just read out tweets that people send, and like that's their thing, that's their channel.
Mhm.
As like literally like I'm not like, I don't know if that's the most creative thing, but whatever, doesn't really matter. My opinion about their content doesn't matter. But literally they got their they had a video that was banned because it was like for bullying and harassment of like another creator. It's like, dude, the guy's literally reading tweets. It's like he's reading tweets. Like maybe the tweets, but that's not his content. He is reading tweets. He's just like reporting like this is what's going on Twitter. Like there's a situation. This is what people are saying on Twitter. Like what the fuck? But like a lot of people will just be like, this is not my hill to die on, because I mean it doesn't affect me. Maybe he shouldn't be reading tweets about controversial situations.
it's
But like,
it's more. You have a very strong point. You have a
mhm,
very valid point. But it's more than just it's not my hill to die on. It's also I don't want to stick my neck out.
yeah,
Right. I don't want to risk my position in YouTube, in the content creator sphere. I get that,
mhm,
right? But until people start, this is the whole problem with jobs in this in general, right? This is how you can have office bullying. This is
mhm,
how you can have things like, God, sexual harassment and shit like this, where oh, we just sweep it under the rug, right?
mhm,
If you dare tell anyone that I sexually harassed you, I'll call you a slut. It's you see this all the time, and it's especially portrayed in what's called television and things like this. This is the stuff that's happening, and people, the victims, tend to keep their heads down because they don't want to cause too much of a scene. But until victims start to stand up and speak out for themselves, does it encourage other victims to come up and highlight the problem?
mhm.
Does that make sense?
Sort of. I mean, like we've kind of had that recently. Like we had that Me Too movement and things around that, and like,
Yeah.
um, part of me like I definitely like, I'm always of the mindset like if you've been done wrong, like speak up about it, especially when it comes to like around when you have like a way a contact method towards authorities, and like
Yeah.
you have a pretty open and shut case, like don't say silent about it. But one of the things where like that movement went into extremes about it is when like you would have those tweets where people say like believe all the victims, and even if you're falsely accused of something, just like accept the accusation because that person has probably suffered way more than you. And it's like, well, that's ridiculous, because we should always, I mean, like in a perfect world, anyone that like has anything wrong done to them, like they should speak up and like say that something wrong was done to them, and then like the person that's being accused should have a fair trial and like a fair investigation. And if they're guilty of what they're being accused of, then they should face like the consequences. And if they're not, then they should not face consequence for things they haven't done. So like I do think that like when it comes to especially like I think that like yeah, you should be very like, if something bad is happening to you, like don't stay silent about it. But I think that you should also be very, very careful with like saying like, oh, we should like everyone should always pick up and like believe everything that everyone says, because like and like I also very much believe in like the innocent until proven guilty thing, and like I don't think that you should be swayed with like a mob sort of thing. Like I think that like one thing that you might be wary of is like a mob mentality sort of thing, where like people like we've had that in the recent years with like or the recent decennia with like depression, where like there have been over the generations like depression has not been really like seen as something real, even though it is a very, very real thing. Most of the times, like especially in the age of when my grandparents were growing up, it's like, dude, like you just get over it, fucking get over it, and don't like what are you whining about? Um, and like in recent years, it's been seen more and more as like the disease that it is, the mental illness that it is. But because like it got such an uptake, you also have a bunch of people who are clearly not clinically depressed, who just like life's not going well for them, and then they're just like, oh yeah, life's not going well for them. For me, let me just say like I'm depressed, and it's like, well, I mean, like, are you? Or are you just seeking attention? And like that's like the mob for the mob thing, where it's like, oh, if you say you're depressed, then like everyone should like take count of you and help you out and all sorts of things. Like like the moment that you start pushing something like that, like you're gonna have people that are gonna be lifting off of like the wave, and then then what you're gonna have is that like it's gonna be less effective than like it's gonna lose effect, because people are gonna be noticing the people that are just lifting off, and they're just gonna be like, well, if these people are lifting off, then like are they all lifting off? And then you get like the opposite reaction, and like you should watch out for that, because the moment that people like don't believe, like start to believe that everyone's just like lifting off, then like, oh yeah, then they don't take it seriously at all anymore, and you should really watch out for that, because like that's the opposite effect what you want to happen.
No, I get what you're saying. There are loads of people out there that will victimize themselves, right?
Yeah.
I've known loads of people that will turn around and say like, oh, I suffer from anxiety, or oh, I'm dyslexic, or I hate people that use dyslexia as a crutch to um basically say, "Oh, I'm stupid because I'm dyslexic." I'm sorry. I am dyslexic. I'm severely dyslexic.
Mm-hmm.
I am not stupid. I will not accept that, right?
No.
And like I have that leg to stand on, but there are plenty of people out there that will treat anything that is a disability as their lifeline to do shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not bad things, but just do poorly, right?
Yeah.
And but the problem is that the people that do suffer from depression, right, that are in true turmoil, are suffering silently. They're so in Birmingham, right,
Mm-hmm.
the homeless, right, have a really bad reputation,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because they're always sat outside of shops. They're always outside of pubs. They're always outside of they're constantly like harassing you for money and things like this. And you can't go 50 foot without hitting another homeless person. Here's the big thing: none of them are homeless. They're
Mm-hmm.
beggars,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can tell because of the way they're dressed, because of the way they're clean, right? The fact that they're not there day in, day out, right?
Mm-hmm.
They rotate. You'll see one beggar in one location and one day, and then the next day you'll see them in a completely different location. Someone else is taking their spot, and it's a fucking scam, right? And it's been recognized, and people are asked by the city council, do not give these people money because they are not homeless, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have been caught out many times. And Birmingham City Council, they will take food, right? Well, I don't know if they do it anymore because of the whole COVID situation, but every day at 7 p.m., they would have a table, right, where they
Mm-hmm.
would give out free food like bread and soup,
Mm-hmm.
right? Hot soup, right? And I would have to walk past this table when I was heading home, and the sheer volume of drunkards, homeless drunkards there, was insane. So yes, there are people that literally take the piss in the situation where they're pretending to be what's called a victim of X stature, right?
Mm-hmm.
Problem is the people that are the victims, they hide, right? Because they see how people react, where what's called, oh, you can't be what's called people react negatively to their bad stance. Oh,
I
you're not.
I I
I'm,
I think it kind of comes in waves, sort of thing, where it's like people just like are like not unaware of the problem or just like ignore it, and then like people bring awareness to it, and then like it becomes like a very like cultural thing, or like a trend, a thing of the times, where it's like, oh, homeless people, like we need to help them out, and like there comes a lot of cloud around that, and then like because like more attention is being given to it, like you have more people like to join on because hey, free food, free money, and they join on, and then that gets noticed, and everyone's like, well, okay, so all of these people are just like people that actually like I mean,
yeah,
we've seen the videos where there's people begging in, like they walk 2 streets down and then they get into their Mercedes Benz. It's like, okay,
yeah,
that's interesting. And then people get the perception of like, oh, they're just people in their Mercedes Benz that are just like trying to get money. Well, fuck that. And then like it goes back to like the same thing, and like the cycle just repeats, which is kind
yeah.
of bringing it back to like the online platforms, online communication, so with like YouTube and Twitch sort of thing. Um, like I can imagine, but when it comes to creators that aren't in the Warframe in the YouTube partner program, I can imagine that they're like, hey, if you just create a random account and like you're just uploading like anime series, just like rep them off, or like you rep movies and
Yeah.
you throw them on YouTube. Like we don't have time to be to like engage with every single one
Deal
of
with
them.
that.
Fine, at that point, there's also no money involved. I think that at that point, like you're relying on YouTube as a charity sort of thing because they're giving you free server space and like a platform where you can go on. Um, and like at that point, like yeah, I don't really care. But when it comes to like you're getting money from it, like you're in part of the partner program. I think at that point, like they should at least have like some sort of chat function or mail function where there's someone on there. Maybe not like right at the same instance, but like you could send a message and you get something back. And I think another thing which is really important is that they actually like are clear with what they're saying, because I think that like the most annoying thing, apart from like there being like not that many competitors that like you could choose like whether you like agree with YouTube or not, uh is that like they're so fake with their rules. That's both with like Twitch and with YouTube. Like YouTube will have many instances where they're like, well, we're just gonna ban this video because we don't like it. And it's like there's like 10 videos which are worse, and it's like, well, I mean, I don't necessarily have a problem. Well, I do have a problem with some rules which I think are just complete garbage. I think it's like generally, as long as like I think they should be rather specific when it comes to like when they're saying like we don't want nudity, we don't want like harassment, we don't want hate speech. It's like, well, be clear, like what do you not want? It's like, okay, like what do you not want to see in your platform? You don't want to see dicks and pussies? Okay, no dicks and pussies. If that's shown, get the video off. Okay, we don't want to see people like fucking dying in real life physically, like real people dying like on the video. If that happens, if a person sees to be, get it off. If there's like blood on the video which is caused by like intent, get it off. Like that's clear, like you know what to deal with. But like they're so vague, so that's also like up to the interpretation. So it's like when it comes around to like, you also see this on Twitch when it comes to and you've seen various instances of like popular streamers just like throwing dogs and cats around and just like saying mean shit. And like normally, I don't think that people would have that much of a problem with people saying mean shit, because that's what we used to do on the internet all this time. But because like we've seen so many creators like get banned for this stuff, like the question also gets asked to them like, hey, why are you still here when like this person said something far less worse and they got banned? And it's just because they're so unclear. Like, be like, okay, we don't want you to say these words. Like, if you say that, I mean, like, I'm not in favor of like censorship, but if that's the list, make that list and make it clear. But they're not clear, so it's like it's so vague and there's no support, and it's like, what kind of communication is going on here? And like, I don't know. I really don't know. Like, what? Like first of all, I don't know if this is their intent. As again, like also when it comes to their PR thing, so whether it's their intent, where they're like, oh hell yeah, deaf awareness, like let's go remove closed captions, that would be a great headline, or whether it's like very unlucky. But it just like I don't know if they like, even if they intend to fix it, like how they could fix it, because it's like it just feels like it gets worse and worse, and like I have no idea unless there comes a competitor where they're forced to do something to fix it because otherwise people move away. I don't know if there's any way in which we could see a change happening, or like a reason why they could change.
I think the big thing that really dictates whether or not things change is investment,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whether or not companies like YouTube or Twitter or Amazon, or even the smaller companies like
Mm-hmm.
small story time with Xeno. I ended up buying a Galaxy 5, I think it was the 5, from a company, or I tried to
Mm-hmm.
company, and it was like 235 quid or something like that, 200 quid. And I was like, you know what? I keep buying stuff from Amazon. Maybe there are alternatives. The answer is yes, there are
Mm-hmm.
alternatives. Whether or not they're good alternatives is something different.
Yeah.
And I think this company was called like Select Electronics. And I was like, okay, so I ordered the phone and I kept an eye on it. And after a week, the order status still said processing.
Ooh.
And I'm like, what the shit's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And they'd taken the money for it. Just processing. What the fuck is processing? Taking the
Mm-hmm.
money. So I contacted them. And in the UK, it is law, right? If you provide a method of support, be it like through the internet, through email, or whatever, you also have to provide a method of support through through phone. Has
Yeah.
to be audible as well as written,
Ooh.
right? It can't just be written. Anyway, so I called them up. Oh, you have to go through our complaint desk. Now, a lot of our community here, like I'm pretty sure a lot of you have played Warframe. I don't know how many of you have used the support ticket system if anything goes wrong in Warframe, but literally, this was their method of communication. It was a development support ticket system for developers, right? I was like, what the shit is this?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I was really confused. So I put in a ticket and I said, look, I want a refund. It's been a week. You haven't bothered shipping it. And your excuse is that you've got a large order of office chairs to fill. Nah, just give me my money back.
Yeah.
Right. What they did was they replied saying, we won't cancel the order, but instead we'll give you a free USB stick as well. And and worst of all, they closed the fucking ticket,
What?
right? So I couldn't reply.
Oh God.
So in the end, I created a new ticket referencing the old one saying, no, you will cancel the order, you'll return the money, or I will take you to trading standards because trust me, you're breaking so many laws, right? And ultimately, this took a month to resolve. Ultimately, I bought the damn phone from Amazon.
Yeah. That's the
But I
safer way to
think
go.
so my point was that small companies also need to innovate as much as large companies.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe it's a case of, if they get an email complaining about, oh, I can't get so and so to work, I can't get my pin or whatever, then instead of just having to have someone respond to it, they get an AI
Yeah.
to pick up on the emails like, we've had this before, right? This person over here has said exactly the same thing. What did we send? We sent them a URL, right?
Mm-hmm.
Send this person the URL, right?
Yeah.
So it makes the AI like be able to support some low level of customer
Yeah.
service,
But
right?
a hard part about that right now is that we've kind of like had the big boom of like the internet. So like when YouTube came around, when YouTube was made, it was like very much the early days. When like at that point, like if you want to start up your video hosting site right now, you have YouTube to compete with. That's a big ass company. So like the amount of measures that you would have to like put into your system in order to like make it like compatible with YouTube or like make it more innovative, or like I mean we had Mixer recently, which was like a Twitch competitor, but it wasn't that much different than Twitch, so that people just stuck with Twitch. They didn't move to Mixer, now Mixer is gone. And that was Microsoft behind that. If you want to create that for your own, it's really, really tough because you have much more larger companies to compete with. At the same time, it's the internet is not growing that big anymore in the same sense of like 20 years ago, like a much fewer percentage of like the world population was connected to the internet. Now more and more people are being connected. I remember like 5 to 10 years ago, like large parts of India were being connected to the internet, and that's why like the Indian side of YouTube grew so big. Is because like all of a sudden all these people that didn't have internet all of a sudden like got connected to it. So what you're gonna get like right now, or like in the upcoming future, is that like you're gonna see like stabilization, especially when it comes to sites like YouTube and such. Like this thing where it's like, oh, host videos on the internet and then like you can post on it. Like that was very new and that really rose up like in the 2010s. And then like you saw mainstream media catch on to it. And the moment that mainstream media newspapers catch on to it, it's pretty much old news. So like what you're finding right now is that all the major sponsors and advertisers are already on YouTube. All the major like players are already on there. So the big investments when it comes to like new video hosting sites, it's like it's going to be tougher because first of all you're going to have to like get up to the level of YouTube, but at the same time like how much growth potential is there still? Where it's like when YouTube started out, it was like this small website where it's like this small thing which like, oh, some people are like using this right now, and like they like you could be an investor and you could see that all of a sudden like this thing could set like unprecedented records, like get unprecedented like number of users on it. Like that would be like, oh man, we're going to invest in that. But right now it's like those records are going to be harder and harder to break because already so many people are on here. So like if you want to compete with like this capacity and the size of YouTube, you're going to have so much server capacity unless you can solve a data problem, unless you can like figure out a way to make like storage so much more efficient that like you only need like a tenth of the server size of like YouTube. But the only way to do that is like invest like, or either be smart as fuck. But even then, you're not going to be able to do it. You're going to have investment money, and the only way to do it is having big companies. So like again, like what are the chances that YouTube beat you on that? So it's like it's really tough right now because like it's so played out and developed already to create a competitor.
So, I mean, this is the real thing about it. You either, I think the only company that I can think of, actually, maybe there's two. There's 2 companies I can think of that have any chance of making a competitor to YouTube. One is Sony. The other is Tencent. It's the only 2 companies that I can think of. And Tencent, I think, could easily do it. But I don't think it would be anywhere near as good.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, Microsoft could do it, technically.
Yeah, but they wouldn't want to risk it. Right?
Probably not.
Whereas companies, like Japanese companies, they tend to go for creation, innovation, actually Nintendo.
I don't think Nintendo would, but what I could also see work is if you and this would be my approach if I were to create a video sharing site, is I would like make sure that I get the basics right and then start out small. So let's say that I were to create one, I would try and sit down with as many creators as possible and like figure out also with developers and like be like, okay, so like what would we need to create something like this, which is better than YouTube, and then like just keep it small. So like start it with 10 people and then build out slowly.
See, this is not what I would do. I would not start with creators, right? I would start with advertisers. Investors, advertisers are the ones that would actually bring in the revenue.
But where would they advertise on if you don't have any and you don't have any site yet? Like where would they advertise?
But that's the point. That's the point. It doesn't matter if you have the site yet because you're looking to build something that appeases the advertisers. Imagine if advertisers like, okay, I want to be able to put in a search term, so like something written like Nazi, right? And it will pick up the audible term Nazi, right? So anyone with any form of dialect that says the word Nazi, I want to keep my advert away from it, right? that is instantly something entirely different from what a content creator would want. Content creator wouldn't give a shit about that sort of stuff.
I think that like the key to cracking this thing, like, because where you have like this cross section of creators and advertisers, is if you could in some way create a platform where it's absolutely clear that the advertisements are related to the user and not to the creator. So like if you see an advertisement, which is like that's what the online advertisement is, the advertisement is personalized based on you, and it's not based on the creator. That doesn't have a connection with the creator.
That's how YouTube does it.
Yeah, but
the
like,
problem
but
is
yeah,
the
but
video
like,
that it's associated with.
yeah, because YouTube hasn't been able to explain properly yet, and they haven't really gotten down to like it's like this thing that you're seeing to that video has nothing to do with that creator. It has got everything to do with you. So like if you're seeing something which you don't like on that like on that advertisement, it's because of you, because like it's your like it's based on like our recommendations to you. This Coca-Cola on whatever video there is, Coca-Cola has nothing to do with that video. It's just focused on you. But like that.
What if you watch a video about hate speech?
Yeah, well,
what if you watch Nazi the adverts to do with you, right?
Yeah. So like
you're
like, but that's because like these companies are looking to advertise to you. So like the thing is like it's like the content behind there has got nothing to do with that advertisement, because like it's not like in general television where like this thing was like, oh, we're sponsoring this. It's like, no, we are trying to reach you, and it doesn't matter where you look. It's like we want to throw it.
Right. I 100% agree with your mindset.
Yeah.
Right. But the difficulty is that trying to convince someone, like it's God, I need to be careful.
It is super complicated, but like that's the thing. I think that if you can solve these two problems,
side of things, it's the subliminal side of things, where people would associate Coca-Cola with drugs. They associate Transformers, the toys, with BDSM, right? It's like, so the options, like, the problem.
Yeah, so I see what you're saying, but I think that's more to do with like the way that advertisements are being done right now. It's like advertisements on YouTube are done in the videos. It's placed before the video and placed in the video feed. So like if you hit up a video, it plays in there. Like that very much like it's right there where like in the second the video will be, and it's going to be right after each other. If you can find a way, and I'm not saying that I know the way, but if you know the way. But if you can find a way through, let's say for example, this is a by definition worse strategy. So like this is not a solution I'm offering, but it's just like, let's say that like instead of like seeing it in the video, you would first get a page that would show the ad, and then you would get to the video. It's like a worse idea. But like if you could find a way in some way where you could like distance this thing, where you could really like in the user experience build this difference between this is an ad for like which like this is an ad served by the platform and this is the video you're watching, then maybe you could change the way that users pick that up. And I also think that number two is like YouTube advertisements are very much a kind of like a charity service sort of thing, because generally the reason why YouTube does that is because YouTube needs to sustain itself. Like these platforms need to earn money to sustain themselves, and how do they do that? Through advertisements, and like paying out the creators. That just happens because they can do it via that. But like basically, if I take a look at like a channel like Linus Tech Tips, who has 2 sponsor spots in their video, I'm like, well, like good on them, because like that's kind of their business. Like what business is it from YouTube to like pay them, sort of thing? I mean, like it is, but like what kind of business is it for YouTube to be looking out for sponsors for them when like it's kind of like their company? So
YouTube doesn't look for sponsors for them.
I mean, like they technically do, because like they contact advertisements. They have this advertiser platform set up with this AI underneath it that will serve advertisements to these people. And like if it's served on like a Linus Tech Tips video, then technically they have like YouTube has contacted an advertisement and like placed an advertisement in front of that video that pays them out. So like technically they at that point, if they're the only ones do like if they and YouTube's channel is entirely reliant on that sense, all that money comes.
You're not talking about paid sponsorship, like
no
Raid Shadow Legends.
That is like a creator looking out for their own shit. So
yeah,
AdSense is kind of like a charity thing again, because like YouTube, I mean, like if they had another way of getting money, they don't have to be looking for advertisement for your channel. It's just that like they need that in order to sustain their thing, and like they pay out. But
so
Yeah,
I do think you have a lot of value. I think a lot of the problem is the psychology of the viewer, but you cannot control the psychology of the viewer. You can't tell someone how to think.
yeah,
Can't tell someone that no, you're being stupid. You cannot in this day and age, you can't even belittle someone for misunderstanding something, because then you are the aggressor, you are the
yeah,
bully, right? Like, no, you've got that wrong, you're an idiot, right? Instantly you're a bully, right? And part of the problem is that there are people out there that will see shit where Coca-Cola has a advertisement spot next to some Nazi propaganda, and there's no control there, right? Realistically, don't get me wrong, there's plenty YouTube could do to support. There's plenty YouTube could do to support content
creators.
creators, yeah,
Yeah,
but at the same time, they need to look out for the advertisers as well. And as far as I can tell, there's no proper infrastructure whatsoever for advertisements, which is why Coca-Cola just pulled out
yeah.
entirely.
I mean, like again, it also comes down to like the way you handle things and like how creatively you solve it. So basically, like electric cars were like stupid little like things that just like ran out the moment you turn on your like your headlights, and you flip your turn signal. Like the moment the indicator light blinked, that was like 1 mile off every time the indicator light blinked. That was like the perception of electric cars. And then like Tesla came around, and all of a sudden like owning an electric car went from like being like a stupid silly thing to like, oh my god, it's like the cool next big thing sort of thing. And the same thing also with when it came to television. Like people said that like experts said that like the best way for people to consume content is like in like 20-minute segments, and then like with like a 5-minute ad break and like 20-minute segments. They can't be more focused on 20-minute segments. That's all they can. And then YouTube came around and was like, oh, people cannot be more focused on like 2 minutes, no more than that. And then podcasting came around, and apparently people can be focused for like hours and hours on end. So like it also depends on like how things are brought. Like if you would have like pitched an idea of like, let's say this podcast to a like to a TV station, you'd be like, well, we want to just do like a podcast. We just want to do a program for like 2 hours. We're unscripted. We're just going to sit down. We're just going to have a conversation. They're just going to be like, well, no one's going to listen to that because they don't have the time for that. Like 20 minutes, they're 20 minutes, 20 fucking minutes. It's like, yeah, no, that's not going to work. And I think that like, and the public at that time would also have not liked it because it didn't like it's such a strange idea. But right now, like it worked, and like we can do it because the landscape has changed. So I think that if you have a good way about it, like the thing is, when it comes down to like that one person that will make like a what's the thing like what's the saying, like they'll make something really big, a mountain out of a molehill sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like those those people are like far in a minority. I think that if you were to like go ahead and like ask everyone off air, like because most people online will not agree with it, or like will not be afraid, like will kind of be afraid to say it. But like if you were to ask people like off air, like, hey, did you really have that much of a problem with like name one of many
X, Y, or Z.
PewDiePie controversies, or like or with like, oh, with this thing or that thing? It's like, not really. Like, did you really like when Logan Paul had his Suicide Force thing, and like if someone saw that video, it's like, do you really associate Coca-Cola, like Coca-Cola wasn't in there that place, but whatever, they got out of YouTube, so like we can shame them. Do you really associate Coca-Cola with like the Logan Paul dead man hanging body thing? It's like, no, of course not. I'm not an idiot. I know. It's like, so like a majority of people don't feel that way, and like the only way in which that gets power, that very much like, it's such a bad thing kind of thing, is like when companies go with it. Because like at the same time, like you could say that like I'm super angry, like really angry that they're taking out Filthy Frank's videos. Like they're really good videos. I like them. It's like, well, like maybe they're not your taste, but I think they're like a beautiful piece of like history, of YouTube history. Like YouTube used to be like this filthy place where like everyone could post whatever they want, and some things would be brilliant, some things would be like not so brilliant, some things would be like the most beautifully well edited things you've ever seen, and some things would be like this weird edgy humor where you look at like what the fuck is going on? What gets into people to do this? And like this, like that also like has a certain beauty in it. Like some people kind of can appreciate, some people can't. And like why would that voice of someone saying like this is ridiculous that like that this video gets deleted, would be less would be of less value than someone that says, "Oh, this is ridiculous because I associate this thing with this thing." It's like it just depends on like who gets listened to and who the big companies listen to, where the money and the influence sits behind. And that's just kind of like arbitrary where the companies listen to, because YouTube could also, and Coca-Cola for the same way, could also just say like "fuck you" to the person that's like, "I'm not associate you with like this video." It's like, no, fuck you. Like that makes no sense. Just like they say no fuck you to people that complain about their videos being taken down. It's like, oh yeah, you read like, yeah, you say you read tweets and it's like in fair use. Well, fuck you. We're not gonna care about that.
I agree with you. I do think that this is what I mean by unionizing. The more people that stick together, the more people that band together of a lower scale, the better it would be for content creation in general, on whole. And I think a lot of people are incentivized to make the big bucks to like, oh, we could limit YouTube in such a way. I'm using YouTube a lot as an example. I think that's a platform that we're all familiar with.
Yeah.
So we could use YouTube so we could limit YouTube like Facebook. Here you go, better example, Facebook. We limit Facebook to only being available for university students, right? That instantly cuts off anyone that does not have a university like a .ac .whatever email address, right? Just cuts them all out, right? So we're talking billions of people, right? We're not talking millions, we're talking billions of people have just been cut out from the system, right? And they could have gone, right, so we have this base, we are building it, we are engaging in interaction, blah, 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 blah. And then some bright spark goes, but we could make more money if we take off this restriction, if we take off this bottleneck, we could make even more money, right? Take off the bottleneck, floodgates have opened, there's no control anymore, and as a result, shit like this happens, right? Where it's too big to manage, right? You can't have companies, you can't have hundreds of thousands of people answering phones anymore because you can't afford to pay the sheer volume of people needed. Your infrastructure is not going to support it,
and the quality as well. I mean, like I could hire 100,000 people, but like in order to like give thorough support, like they need to be aware of like how this thing works, and like who to contact, and like what's common sense. And I mean, like one of the things that you see with YouTube's case, for example, is that like they will have like content review systems somewhere in like places where Western values aren't being shared. So like whenever they come across like a video flag that has like, I mean, like it was like the entire thing was like the LGBT content on YouTube, like that if that was being flagged to them, then that was being reviewed by people that weren't sharing these values, and they would of course remove it because that wasn't aligned with their values. And it's like, well, I mean, that doesn't really like help anything at all. Like you're just making it worse at this point.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And one of the big things for these different services is not miscommunication, misinterpretation, no, what's the word? Misconception, right? So, you know, for example, they YouTube take off the community driven
The closed captions,
subtitles.
yeah.
Yes, the community closed caption. They so happen to do it the 1 week of the year. It's like, oh shit. I mean, one thing that I think would be really cool, like Deaf Awareness Week, they turn off all the audio, right? You know, like take everything as subtitles.
But it's like I can also imagine it's like the bigger you grow, like it's also like, can you please everyone? You can't at some point. But I think it's like it's also an interesting thing to explore, where I can imagine this might be a loop, which like it's like a negative spiral loop. Like, so like let me explain where I'm coming from. So a couple weeks ago, we had Sandy on when you were away on holiday,
Yep.
and we were talking about Warframe. And one of the things that Sandy brought up was like, I think that you said that, like, I think one thing which has really changed, especially since like the Plains of Eidolon with Warframe, is that the community doesn't believe in general that DE is working to make the game better. They're rather
Yeah.
thinking it's like the DE is against fun. And like that is a
Yeah.
bad thing. Like that's also what I think about YouTube. I think that YouTube, like I literally have this with like updating apps. Like I will never update an app unless I'm forced to, because I think every update makes the app worse. Because like I had YouTube on my iPod and I could play it in the background. I could like I
Yep.
could like play it in the background. I could like do like I had no ads. I had like it was working, and then they updated it, and like I could no longer play it in the background. It had all ads on it, and like they removed like creators and videos, which I really liked. It's like every single time it updates, it gets worse. So like this company, every time it does something, makes things worse. And like I think that's also what's happened with Warframe. It's like people feel like, oh, every time they do something, it's because they want to nerf it or they want to do this, and it gets worse. And I can imagine that like when you start out and you start out with like a company, like, and you want to develop it, you want to make it better every single time. Like if your community goes with it, like, oh yeah, to make things better, like it boosts you. But I can also imagine if like you're really working hard and like the first response you get is like, oh, so like you're just making it worse. You could be like, it could be like having an adverse effect on you where you're like, oh my, oh god damn it, they're just like hating, like screw this. I mean, we got to focus harder on this, because like this is the way it's better. This is the way we got to go, and then you double down on it, because like again, like who knows what it's like in the first time it's like a majority of the community or just like a small portion, because like at a certain point, like you don't know which are like haters, just people that will just hate anything you do, or whether they're people that like genuinely care about things. Like sometimes like with like critical channels, like I know there's creators that make very critical videos, and it's very hard to distinguish sometimes. Like, are they giving people benefit of the doubt, or are they just here to like get some drama, get some views? Like you don't know. And like that's also, I can imagine that's really hard when you're running one of these companies. And like if you double down on that, and then like you're in this thing where like, oh yeah, and like because of that, like the effect is bigger where people are like, oh, you're just against fun, you're just against what, like you're just making things worse. Then you're kind of like either in this thing where you're just like both of you are just like working towards different things, so like the people that are receiving it will just hate it more and more, which makes like the people that are making the things just like them less and less and less. Or like this might be YouTube's case, like they're trying to do their best, but like it will never be enough unless like they do something major where everyone's like, hell yeah, now they're back on track. But I don't think it will happen. I think it's like this negative spiral. This is what just continues, where like because this idea has been set in motion, where like a majority of the people, or like a large size of people, think that like they're no longer working to make things better or make things more fun. They're no longer on their side. Like you get this weird thing where there's like always this conflict, like why do you have to make things worse? And like, well, whereas YouTube has just been working really hard to like trying to make things better, like because they removed closed captioning, because like a lot of people were just like in the chat like abusing it, and like people were complaining about that, and like they're, oh, we make it better for you guys, and then like they just get this backlash again of like, fuck you, like during Deaf Awareness Week, how dare you? It's like the same thing also probably like around the Logan Paul thing, is like you probably had like so many channels that were just like uploading complete movies and shit on YouTube, or like just copy channels. Like I remember like at some point like Headshot's channel and Mogamu's channel, like some people just like took all their videos and posted it on their channel, and they got money from that, because right then you could just like make money the moment you open a YouTube channel. It's like they probably fixed that by like removing all people under 1,000 subscribers from the YouTube Partner Program. But they did that, and that could have fixed something. But like that was right after Logan Paul's thing. So like the thing was like, oh, Logan Paul did a bad thing. Let's demonetize all small creators. Like, well, yeah, great job, guys. Great fucking job. I really, really like you. And it's like they don't have a response to that. And like I think that might be a really tough cycle to get out of when you're engaged in that, where like how are you gonna like turn that around? And I think that might also be something.
I also think that you also have to pick and choose your battles as well.
Mm-hmm.
As weird as it sounds, because we've had conversations where there's, you see, this is the part of the problem. Like I don't want to say half this stuff, because if I do, the second I do, like the wrong person hears it, and then all of a sudden I'm the bad guy. Like no, this is perception. This is things that are happening.
Yeah.
Like, so for example, there you go. You said it earlier. The subtitles thing, the closed captions, community closed captions. People were abusing it. People complained about it. then they removed it, then people complained about it. I'm like, you know, what there's no winning, right? You're always gonna get and you were saying before about the minority of people believed in something. So like Coca-Cola
Yeah.
you know, what you call it, sponsors Nazis, you know, like that you know. But at the same time, you know, there was one publication, right? Years and years and years ago. You can look this up on Google. There's one publication that said vaccines gave children autism, right? You
That
know
one.
exactly what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Luckily, this is such a right. But one publication said this exact thing. All other publications since then have gone out of their way to, well, not all, but you know, the majority of other publications involving this subject matter have gone out of their way to disprove this thing. Even the person that wrote it turned around and said that they lied, right? That what you call it? But and even so, the journal itself, like, you know, but people to this day still hang on the stupid belief that
Like,
vaccinations cause autism in children.
it's the same thing with the flat Earth thing, where it's like literally, I like
oh my god,
the flat Earth. I believe, if I get this right, was started as a joke, where people were like, let's think of like one of the most ridiculous things that we can think of: the Earth is flat, and let's make that like a funny meme movement. And then people started joining it, and they started being real about it. And it's like, how the fuck do you make this up? Like, you start something as a joke, and like people just go on with it. Like, yeah, I mean, it takes a little, and like some people can just really bring it really far.
And I think, like, even though we have different levels of appreciation for digital extremes, right? I think both of us can agree that DE are not set to destroy their own game. They're not set to ruin fun, you know. Like, it wouldn't make sense, because if the game's not fun, people aren't going to play the game. They're out of a job, right? But there was one thing that has rung in my head this entire time, right? That I said companies need to invest in supporting consumer support, so customer support, or making a product better. It's down to the companies to invest in making something better, right? And one fucking company. Oh, look, here goes Xeno targeting Activision again, right? Activision have been known to, you know, they fired off loads of people. Right, just make the customer support work. No refunds. Refunds are bad. They would make us lose money. No, we want more money, right? You've got even staff members, you know, there's an absolutely brilliant video by Yongye who highlights the significance of Mike Morhaime. I can't remember his last name. I never remember his last name. The co-founder of Blizzard Entertainment. He was so Yongye highlights the value of one of the original founders of Blizzard Entertainment making his own publishing studio, right? And it's like, you know, we're making games for the gamers and the devs, right? Whereas when Mike Morhaime left Blizzard, or Activision Blizzard, apparently finance people started coming into design meetings. No, it has to be cheaper. We need more money. It has to be cheaper. It just ruined it, you know. And look what shit we have these days. Fucking Warcraft 3 Reforged. What?
Well, like actually, one thing that I'll give Activision crap for is that like they actually change things for the worst. Like I was gonna make a rant on Call of Duty because Mogamu tweeted out that he really wanted to make a rant, but he didn't feel inspired to, and I was like, oh, you know what? I'll make a rant to start him off, and then like I can be like, I was gonna end it like, well, if you didn't like this, just like blame Mogamu and tell him like you like Moggy in the morning, the stream, sort of thing, just like as a meme. I was gonna be like the thing that I feel when it comes to rants, when it comes to like complaining on the internet, like it needs to be 75% funny and 25% have a point. And I didn't think I could make it funny enough, so I didn't quite go with it. But like one of the things right here is, okay, look at this. This right here, actually, no, here we have Call of Duties. So the thing that I had, let's see if I can like zoom it out. The thing that I had is like, I know that you like different Call of Duties than I do, but for me, like the things which I really liked was Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2. These were like really, really great games, and I can come back to them there, and they're great. After that, they changed because right now, like I tried going back to Black Ops 4 recently. Actually, Black Ops 4 is the most recent one. I went back to that. I wanted to play that because I don't like Battle Royale so that much, and like all the other things are just like these. Like I just want a regular team deathmatch. I just want a regular team deathmatch. You know, just like a good old thing they were all over back in the day. And like I went back to Black Ops 4, and I suck at it. And it's like I'm like, okay, have I gotten this rusty? But then I go back to like Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops, Modern Warfare 3, and I get nukes. It's like, what the fuck is the difference? And like some of the things which are the difference, like you got all this bullshit options in like the loadout where it's like choose a class, choose where your character grew up, choose their like whatever their history. It's like, no, I just want to have like simple menus, you know? I don't need all this crap. I don't need a class. I don't need an ultimate ability. It's just a simple team deathmatch. But like they baked all this bullshit, and then you also have like this weird like movement system where it's like jumping and shit. Like it just doesn't feel like the right thing anymore. It just doesn't. It's not the same thing, and that wouldn't be a problem if these games like Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare 3, if they still had active lobbies. But all these lobbies, all these games are dead because no one's playing them anymore. So right now it's like, what do I have to do? Like, where can I go? Where can I go to satisfy my Call of Duty needs? And then it's like, dude, man, Activision, you have one job. You could have just looked at EA. You could have looked at all these FIFAs that they put out. And it's like, they're the exact same fucking game. Like, you can't convince me that any of these games have any new stuff because they're all the exact game. Like, they just have, like, sometimes a different person on the front. Sometimes they just have the same person on the front. It's just the exact same game. Like, FIFA 19 is the same experience as FIFA 10 or something. I don't care. But that's, like, at least I can go back to that and can play that now. But you've had to, like, make it worse. And now I can't play it anymore. And, like, that was kind of, like, the gist of it. But yeah, that's my thing with Call of Duty. They made it. They changed. They changed too much. They don't have. They don't have my games anymore. I can't do. What do I do with this niche? I have a desire I can't fulfill. It's eating me up inside.
One of the bigger problems that I find with the likes of Call of Duty or World of Warcraft is also tending towards this. It's like they make a shell of a product and they don't actually flush it out properly, things like that. And there have been, I think the writers for World of Warcraft have genuinely just thrown in the towel. Like, we don't give a fuck anymore. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they're like the writers Family Guy trying to get Family Guy shut down. And
wasn't that the case with Dragon Ball? Like, wasn't Dragon Ball?
Yeah, the author wanted to stop, and he was trying so hard to make Dragon Ball Z shit, and everyone still loved it. Yeah, no, I remember that. But it's just like, fucking, it's instead of actually making a piece of art or making something that's good and enjoyable, it's just turned into something to just shit out product. And though I do share those concerns when it comes to Warframe, I have faith that none of the people at Digital Extremes are actively choosing to follow this path. And I hope that now that Liao Yu has been swallowed up by Tencent will give Digital Extremes more slack to run Warframe how they think it should be.
So next update, there's going to be a new system, a digital point system, and if you you have to link all your social media, and if you say something bad about
Oh my
the Communist Party,
god.
you're gonna get negative affinity score. No, I hope they leave them alone and they can just do whatever. Like they can just continue on
Yeah.
their business. But yeah. Anyway,
I have high hopes for Dreamhaven, right? That publisher under Mike Morhaime. I have really high hopes for them. Hopefully they can bring back my gaming childhood.
maybe the updates for Among Us will do. We'll
Yes.
bring I'm really curious how that's gonna update and what they're gonna bring back in. Also, like you mentioned Facebook, and like there was like a quick little news article that I kind of wanted to share with you, or just like a headline.
Sure.
But Facebook might quit Europe over a ban on sharing data. So Europe has set like new regulations about like sharing data between like continents and shit. And Facebook is like, oh, we don't want to do this. We might quit over this. And I think that collectively for Europe, we might
Okay,
say,
good.
go
Bye.
for it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Like I genuinely don't know who has a Facebook account anymore. I don't think anyone. I think one person I know has a Facebook account only because she like her fellow uni students still use Facebook. Or oh no, it's her one of her old friends. Like I do this, right? So whenever I have multiple people, like I use MSN for one person, I use Skype for one person, I use Facebook for one person, I use this for one person, that for one. Like no. Enough's enough, right? You're either migrating to something else, or I'm not talking to you again because I'm fucking sick. Like I had that all the time. Like it's so yeah.
I think that like it's mostly people over 40 that still use Facebook. It really got
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's like
What?
parents, grandparents that just use Facebook to like send each other requests and like look at things and their memes and shit. So like that's still being used. And like I know my cousin is still on it because he was like one of the Facebook 500, so like the first 500 accounts. So he probably still has his because sentimental reasons. So other than that, yeah, I mean, like I don't use it. Like I've seen it recently again. It just gives me the creeps to be on there. It just doesn't look nice.
Yeah.
It looks so ugly. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. So I wonder how Facebook gaming platform is doing because like I know that they wanted to like migrate everyone over from Mixer to Facebook gaming, and like I don't know, but like I would have streamed on Mixer, but I would not stream on Facebook gaming. But yeah, two more things. First of all, like the thing where we said like the YouTube competitors, like if you could make it like function properly. Like recently, like Storyfire has come up as like a possible YouTube competitor, but the thing is like it just does not work. I've installed the app because I was like, let me give it a shot because there's a couple of creators that post on it. I'm like, okay, let me see. There is no subscription tab. I can't even like I'm subscribed to a couple of channels. I can't even hit my subscription tab to see the videos that come out. You can't even post your own videos on there. You have to fill in a Google form and hope that you get accepted. And like I can't even post my own videos. It's so like just get things right. Like get a couple of key things right. And like I hope that they get it right. But right now it's like I would love if that thing grows big, but it's not really there yet. And the second thing about Facebook as well, this was in the headlines today, is that Farmville is shutting down. I don't know if one of you, were in the 90 million players that ever played Farmville on Facebook. I did. I had a great old time with it for like the first 3 months of Facebook. Sent many people annoying requests, but like I lost it and I deleted my Facebook account. But yeah, that's gonna be gone. So, rip.
No, I think I used to. Is it Castleville?
Yeah, they had a bunch of them.
Yeah, I was just like, I this is a poor man's attempt at an RTS.
Yeah, but
Oddly enough, I was looking at. Yeah, go on.
it was all the rage at that point. Like these games that were all the same. Everyone loved them.
Yeah.
Or Taste of Casuals. Oh, by the way, there was something that we saved to the end. What was it that we saved to the end? Something that you were going to talk about at the very end.
Oh, the Among Us story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before you get started, if you guys have any questions, we will answer them after the story. So, yeah, if you have any questions, throw them in. But let's get to the Among Us story.
Okay, so I like to play Among Us with a bunch of friends off stream and things because I can't stream to start and go a long way. But so Michelle joined us and it was the very first time. No. Yes, the very first time I was the imposter for the gameplay session. And the very first person I killed was Loz. And literally, we are talking within the first minute of the game session starting, right?
Yeah. And you and Laws are always together. Always. No matter what game, you're always together.
Right? And if not, right, during the discussions, I'm always banging on about how, you know, we need to follow the buddy system. We need, like, you know, and this time I just wasn't doing it, right? I instantly killed Loz. I quickly jumped into event. Nazareth came into it and was like, I've just found Loz. I blame Xeno. And like, everyone was sort of like bantering. I was like, no, I wasn't there. Like, I don't know, fucking Loz with his anti-buddy system rules. Or I was being fairly sus. Anyway, so I ended up killing a bunch of people. And like the best thing was I was always convincing everyone to eject other people out of the airlock, which is great. And then Michelle was like, I reckon it's Xeno. It's like, no, it's not me. It's like, and Michelle goes, do you have any tasks that you could do to prove that it's us? And like, you know, we'll watch the counter go up and things like this. And I was like, yeah, I do. It's like, well, what tasks do you have? It's like, well, I don't know. I've got a bloody screen in front of me. It's like, fine, we'll go do a task and like we'll watch it. And if you don't do it, we'll know it's you. And at this point in time, there was only 6 of us left, right? Out of the 9 people. So there's 6 of us left. And my co-imposter was still with us, right? So I quickly thought of like what's far enough away and what visibly looks like it would take a long ass time to do it. And I remembered in the community, like far away, there was a download thing. So I went for the download thing, and everyone crowded around me, right? And at the same time, apparently, Loz, who was dead, obviously because I killed him in the first second, right, did a task, and Michelle thought, well, clearly Xeno's not an imposter. Immediately, as soon as the kill thing came off cooldown, myself and Merastius killed 2 people, and we instantly right? And it was just like, bam! I'm like, wait a sec, what happened? Oh my god, we won! I was just like, right, the second game, immediately after, myself and Merastius were the imposters again. And I did exactly the same trick. I killed Loz in exactly the same place, everything. But this time, I reported the body. I was like, someone's killed my buddy! I burst out like I couldn't. And so I just outed myself, right? And I'll never forget this. Just as everyone is like deafening and muting their microphones, I go like, "Good luck, Michelle."
It was so dumb.
And was it not? No, was it Nazareth?
No, it was Galade. Galad.
Yeah, Galad. Yeah, he just turns around and it's like he just instantly calls an emergency meeting.
So yeah, I did not even hear that because I muted myself. So you said like, "Good luck, Michelle." I didn't even hear that, and then immediately like Galade like hits the emergency button and says, "Oh, Xena just said, 'Good luck, Michelle.' So Michelle's the second imposter." And I was like, dude, what are you talking about? Well, Xeno said that. And I was like, dude, like, what the fuck? Like, why would he ever say that? Like, that makes no sense in the entire world. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, I was even doing that, like, I can prove it. I have tasks. He's like, no, it's you. And like, if it's not you, you can vote me off. It's like, guys, come on. Like, I know I'm not it. So like, what we're gonna do is you're gonna vote 2 like non-imposters off. Like, that's a very dumb decision. So like, let's all go through with it. And then like the voting happened. And like, there hadn't even been a kill. It was just an emergency meeting for like no stupid reason. And everyone fucking voted on me. It wasn't even like, even NASA was like, oh yeah, dude, like, nah, it seems so dumb. Why would we vote? And he voted too. Everyone voted. I was so done. I was like, guys, well, good luck. I told you I ain't doing tasks. So literally, like, your guys aren't going to finish unless you find the final imposter.
I was muted. I was hearing the whole conversation, but I was muted. So I was pissing myself laughing. I was just like, I cannot believe they are buying this.
Yeah.
No one in their right mind would call out their partner like that.
No.
And it was just like, oh my fucking god! And they kicked out Michelle, and and Marastius is just 100% dead quiet. And fucking hell!
And the beautiful part was that like Gallade was like, he was like, okay, if it's not him, you can kick me out. And then no one hit the emergency button. They just kept on playing.
Oh.
Oh man, that was so dope.
I fucking loved that. It was hilarious.
And like at the end, like there were 4 people left. And obviously, like they had all the time in the world because I wasn't gonna finish my task. I was like, I ain't finishing my task because like first of all, y'all went on this stupid thing, and everyone voted. No one had faith in me, so I would have faith in you. And secondly, even then, like y'all didn't like kick off Gallade, even though he said if it's not him, kick off me. So I was like, yo, you done fucked me over, I done fuck you over. So like I was kind of hoping that Marashius would win because I was like, well, we're gonna get him back. But then like Xena was like hitting like lights, Xena was like hitting like doors, and Marashius was just like not taking the hint to like get in the doors. Like the lights went off, and like he would be around like 3 other people, and like you could kill someone because like the other people don't see anything, so like you can just blame anyone. And he was just like, instead of like going to them, he would run off, get into electrical before they were, and then hop in the vent and then go to medbay. I was like, what the hell are you doing? You're just running around in circles.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, it was great.
Oh, I fucking love that shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, do we have any questions?
I don't think we do. So let's end it here. I'm getting a little bit tired as well. So this Friday we're gonna have another Among Us stream here on Twitch. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I've really been enjoying the Among Us stream, so let's have more fun there. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning into the FrameCast this week again. This week more of a like singular topic. Let me know how you like them. If you appreciate them, like kind of like what we did in the old format. If there's gonna be cool news and shit, like we're gonna be talking about that, just like regular. And yeah, otherwise we'll see you all next time. Check out Xenogelion.com on YouTube. Anything else you want to say?
Bye. I'm also hungry.
All right, let's stop.
Oh, I got biscuits.